Here's what you should know about your local housing market in this week's market update. We're now in April. The average consumer thinks of April as the beginning of spring and spring market, although spring market typically begins end of February, beginning of March. So we are in spring market. We have been for a little bit of time now. But one common theme I'm finding this year is don't get greedy. Just because statistics, figures, some factor is moving in one direction does not mean that you should assume it will continue to move in that direction. Whether it's interest rates, I spoke to plenty of people that when they saw interest rates dip down just below 6%, say, oh, this is great. I'm thinking of refinancing. I'm going to hold out a little bit longer until they come down even more. And now those rates are above 6.5%. And this week, we're seeing the same thing happening with inventory. Just because those inventory numbers have been creeping up, people are saying, wow, if inventory numbers have been creeping up this much already, this is promising. Once we get into the spring market, we're going to see so many options. We might, but this week you'll see that that doesn't necessarily mean that those numbers can only go in one direction. So that being said, let's get into the specific stats this week for Morristown, Chatham, Madison, Harding, Morris Plains, Mendham, Chester, Bernardsville, Basking Ridge, and Randolph. We saw 33 homes come in the market this past week. That's a staggering 46% less than the number of new homes we saw come in the market last week. Out of these homes, 23 of them were single-family houses, 10 of them were condos or townhouses. The average list price of these homes was $1,207,000. That's an 8% decrease over the average list price last week. Total inventory, we've been seeing some promising gains week over week to replenish the historically low inventory. Well, guess what? We saw a 10% decrease in active homes on the market this week. So currently we have 193 homes actively on the market in these towns. Once again, that's a 10% decrease from what we saw last week. So a decline in total homes available for sale. Sold homes, we saw 32 homes sell this past week. That's an 88% increase over the prior week. The average list price of these homes was $1,012,000, and the average sale price of these homes was $1,076,000. So this past week, we saw homes sell on average in these towns for 4.9% above the list price. Now, town by town basis, we saw one town where homes sold below the list price. That was Morris Plains. One home sold at 6% below the list price. Otherwise, every single other town we looked at, homes sold at or above list price. At list price, we saw Bernardsville. We saw one home sell exactly at list price. Chester, we saw one home sell at 1% above list price. Randolph, we saw 3 homes sell, average of 0.7% above list price, but the numbers keep going up from there. We saw Basking Ridge at 3% above list price, Morristown at 5.7% above list price. We saw Chatham at 10.3% above list price, Mendham at 13.7% above list price, and Madison at 16% above list price. So mostly we're seeing homes selling significantly above the list price. So buyers, do be aware of that when making your offers and your and managing your expectations. Average days on market for the homes that sold, though, 41 days on the market. Although that is greatly skewed by that one in Morris Plains. While it sold 6% above list price, it also sat on the market for 126 days. Total under contract. We saw 50 homes go under contract this past week. That's a 2% increase over the prior week. Average list price of these homes was $1,120,000. Average days on market. Homes that went under contract this past week were on the market for an average of 20 days. That's a 29% decrease over the prior week. So we have been seeing the under contract homes get there quicker than in the previous week. So once again, while we have been in the spring market for a bit of time now in April, you really have no excuse if you are looking to make a move this spring. Now is the time to act. Spring market is a very vibrant time. We do have a limited window before we typically see that summer slowdown. There's a lot between prepping your home and getting on the market and getting it sold. So that window is narrowing. It is in your best interest to get moving now if a move is in your near future. So thanks so much for checking in with me. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll catch you again next week.